Alrighty guys, I'm Casey and welcome to a brand new episode of our Minecraft Vanilla Survival World, guys. Last episode we looked at some ideas that you could use to help fill some of the spaces in your world. We made a couple of these little tool sheds right here. We also made the Big Brother and the Big Daddy version of them. You can see one over there. But we also added in a beetroot field for our beetroots with a few scarecrows on it to make it look a little bit nicer. You can get a clue of this tool shed right here. Look, this is how it looks. Still haven't put the tools in here yet, guys. I haven't got around to it, if I'm honest with you. We also added in this sort of like abandoned, dilapidated field. This was once a field, but it's no longer a field now. And we also added in a couple of additional other things. And I also showcased a few other things around my world that you could add in, such as wheelbarrows, like we've got in here, and lifts, and just storage little things everywhere, little trees, little bushes, pathways. We did quite a bit of work in the last episode, and we're back on to the work in this episode. Because this episode, what I want to do is I want to play around. I should probably link these pathways here. I've just noticed they're not really linked. So what I want to do in this episode, guys, is I want to play with something in Minecraft that I've never played with before. I want to play with bees. What I want to do is I want to set up an automatic honey farm that's going to generate us honey automatically. But I also want to have like a little field filled with bees. Now, obviously, the first task is to go and find some bees. Now, I have a couple of beehives that I've managed, but the first thing that we're going to need before we can find bees is a silk touch axe, which I already got. So we're good on that one. Now, what I need to do is I just need to go around and look at in a like birchwood forest or an oak forest, just to see if there's a beehive hanging from any of the... Well, it didn't take too long. We got one right here, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to mine this with our silk touch pickaxe. That gives us the bee nest. Now, I do want a few more of these. We got some bees flying around here. You can also plant flowers and grow saplings, because saplings do have a chance of generating a beehive attached to them. But I think I'm just going to run through this birch forest a little bit, see if I can find myself a couple. I think maybe 4 or 5 should be enough with the ones that we've got. So I'm going to do that. So 15 minutes to gather in, we got ourselves a few nests. Now, or some hives, should I say. There's a bee floating around over there, look. Now, we want to play with these a little bit first. And I want to explain why we've got them stacked sort of differently. So, when you put a bee nest down, the bee will go and work. You can see there's a bee flying around there. Now, when that bee flies around, it will grab some pollen and it will return to the nest and deposit 1 piece of honey in the nest. The nest can contain up to 5 pieces of honey. Once it reaches 5, it maxes out and it can't produce any more. Now, when it does that, it'll start dripping and it will let us know. Now, we need that honey to progress further to make a fully automated farm. So, I could just put these down, that's sure. I could do that, shear them, get myself the honey that way and just skip this step. But I actually want to make a nice little pad for these, and I want this to look really kind of cool. So, what I'm thinking is we're going to have a bit of a bee farm somewhere over here is what I'm thinking. So I am going to get to work on that. So I've got a little bit of an area set out. And if you ever wondered how to do it yourself, it works good for me just to put down place markers. So I know the road is going to go around here like this. And I know that this is going to be another field. This is going to be an off field, but we're going to get to that in a moment. If we get time in this episode, hopefully I want to get that done. But the main thing for this episode is the bee farm. And I've got the entrance to the bee farm right here. And this is going to be a 2-stage bee farm. We're going to have our bees that produces honey in our honey farm somewhere out here. Back here, we're going to have our bee nests. And it's a little bit of an area. We've got this going around. This is the fence that's going to show me where to go now. This back bit is going to be that wall that we've done. If we go... Oh, I am almost out of food. If we go over here, guys, you can see the wall that we've been using. The wall design to sort of wall off our farm, which is something that I do want to bring all the way around. But if you go over here, you can actually see the wall like this. It's a very simple wall. It's just oak and spruce wood stripped. But I've just put in a little bit of a place marker here just to show where it's going to go. But what I want to do is I want to get into the design here. So, according to the wiki, bees need to be unobstructed in the top and the sides to be able to leave it. Now, in Java Edition, that is by any solid block. So, I'm hoping, let's go grab my bee's nest real quick. I'm hoping that I might be able to get away using trap doors to sort of make the nests look a little bit nicer. So, let's try this. And I got a couple of ideas for a couple of bee farms. So we're going to put one there. We're going to put a, I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a single one there. But I want to use like different designs for this. So we'll probably put a double there. And then we'll put another single back here. So we're going to pop these in now. So we got a bee nest there. Grab ourselves another couple of our bee nests. What we'll do is we'll put these on like so. Oh, I'm glad they catch. I'm glad that they sort of catch on. Oh, we got the bees going. We got the bees going. We got the bees going. Okay, okay, okay. So what I want to do here is I actually want to try a oak fence on top. Not that way around. I want to try it this way around. And open it that way. Nope, that looks kind of meh. Not the way that I wanted it to do. So maybe we go with just a single one here. We do one of these ones. Grab that bee's nest. Pop that in there like so. We got another single one over here. And maybe we put another double one here. Maybe we put this one on top of a fence post. I'm just trying to add variety. And now that doesn't really look all that good, does it? So maybe we add another double one over here. It's right near the entrance as well, so I think it'll look good. There we go. Okay, so it looks like we got a couple that's got honey on them. I wouldn't mind another one right there. So I might go and see if I can find myself another beehive. I don't have any. But what I want to see is I want to see if we put trapdoors on it, if that obstructs the bees in any way. So we'll pop that on top. And I'm going to do this to all of them. Work has been done, guys. I've got the field in place. Now this looks really nice. It fits in with the rustic theme that we're going for in this farm. And we've got a bunch of these bee nests right here now. So, first things first, guys. I took the trapdoors down because I was watching the bees come out. And they would just sort of fly around between the bee nest and the door and then disappear. But also because I kept seeing them go red and falling downwards. So I assume it was actually killing them off. So we've got these here. We'll get rid of the too tall grass there. But I put these slabs on the top just to add some little bit more strength to it. Make it look a little bit nicer. We've got the bee over here. Look, he's chilling. And what we're looking for is the honey. Now you can see that some of these are already dripping honey. Now I've gone ahead and I've harvested some honey. But to harvest honey, what we need is some shears. And all we're going to do is right click any that is dripping with honey. And if you look here, you can see that we've got these honey little particles like right here. And right here, if we right click, they will turn and become, you know, not honey. They'll become hollow. But the bees attack us. Now, there are ways to stop the bees attacking us when we harvest them. There is, if we were to put a campfire underneath, the bees would not aggro. But there's another way. If we were to use a dispenser to do the shearing for us, then again, the bees would not aggro. But we're going to set up a fully automated farm. So dealing with them aggroing in this little bit anyway isn't going to be that big of a deal. Now, as you can see, I've got 12 honeycomb. And what we want to do is we want to make, these are beehives, we also want to make bee nests. And, or these might be the bee nests actually. I'm not entirely sure which one's which. But we're going to make the other version of this now. Because obviously you need to go around and find these in the world to be able to put them in here. And I've hunted around the birch forest, the dark oak forest, and the other birch forest over there, as well as an oak biome over there. And this is as many as I've managed to come up with. So finding these in your world is not always the easiest thing. But we do have other things that we can do. But first, let's just recap what's going on here. Because I've added the grass here. Because for the bees to make honey, they need to pollinate inside. And to pollinate, they need flowers. So I've just gone ahead and bone mealed here and left the flowers that grew here. I did put in some of these pink, these oxide daisies, are they? Yes. I did put in these manually because I had a bunch of them. But most of these flowers are just naturally grown. And let's just go ahead and grab that. Maybe the bee will leave us alone if we're far enough away. Nope, he's coming after us. He's going to sting us. Oh, jeez. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Leave the bee alone. Leave me alone, bee. Leave me alone. Oh, it's still coming for us. Oh, jeez. It's still coming for us. Wow, those bees travel a considerable distance from the hive just to sting you. And unlike bees in real life, these bees don't die after they sting you. Oh, look at that, look at that. He's still coming after us. Okay, his eyes are no longer red, so he's leaving us be. He's going to return back to the nest, which is good. But we're going to look at going ahead and crafting up the next stage in this, which is just oak planks. Or actually, you can use any wood for this. It doesn't have to be oak planks. I'm just using oak planks because it makes sense. And we're going to use some honeycomb. What that allows us to make is this beehive, which works pretty much the same way that these do. So if I got a fence post, I do. I'm going to pop the fence post down over here for now and just stick the beehive on it. And that's pretty much it if I'm right. That should start generating honey very similar to the way these do. We may need to put some flowers down, so let's just put a flower down. Sort of like right there. And hopefully this starts to work. So as it would turn out, bees don't actually generate automatically. They will come with the hive if you break the hive, which is what we've got here. But there is a way to populate your area with more bees. And just like all hostile, or sorry, all friendly mobs in the game, you can actually breed bees by simply giving them a flower. Giving them a flower will make them enter love mode. And look, a baby bee was born. And what will happen is any unhoused bee, so a beehive and a bee nest, can both home 3 bees. Each one of these can house 3 bees, no more. Once they fill up, the homeless bees will then start venturing around to try and find another house to sort of home in on and live there, which is really, really kind of cool. So I think once they get a beehive in mind that's their beehive, they will stick to it, which is why that bee entered this one and this one did, because these were homeless bees, whereas this bee, he has a home. Now they'll travel 22 blocks to try and find flowers to pollinate. They've got a bunch here, but obviously this one's, you know, he's enjoying looking over there. It might be that this grass is actually blocking it. I'm not sure on that one. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but at least we've got that. Now, a beehive will not leave his bee home after 2 minutes. Well, for 2 minutes once they enter. So it'll take 2 minutes for them to enter. And once you've bred a bee, it takes 5 minutes to be able to breed said bee again. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to look at a way to automate this, or to at least start to get honey and honey blocks out of it. So I'm going to let these bees, I'm going to try and breed these bees up a little bit more before we get into that, because I want to get a couple more houses going, get a few more bees housed together and happy. So I'm going to get to that. So I've been breeding bees up for a little bit now, guys. You can actually hear the sheep in the background. They got nothing to do with the bees, but I was over here because I need to grab some resources to start building the honey farm. This is going to generate us honey so we can make honey blocks, which will be very helpful when it comes to building larger and bigger redstone contraptions in the future. Obviously right now we just need some sort of basics farm, but let me show you guys sort of how I've done. I didn't even know if I mentioned it or not, but I did bring the wall in behind the bee farm. We've still got to bring it in behind this sort of field here, but we'll get to that later. Right now what I want to do is I want to work a little bit on this. So we got a bunch of beehives here. Now, I made a mistake earlier on when I said that bees don't actually die from their own sting in the game. It turns out they actually do die from their own sting, because we're missing a lot of bees over here. A lot of these beehives actually had bees in them, but now they don't. So just be careful when mining. For example, if we're going to go ahead and grab the honey out of this one, I actually need a honey bottle for the farm, so I'm going to just grab the honey. And I'm going to right-click the honey on there. Make sure you get away from the bees quickly, just so they don't sting you. You don't want to get stung by the bees. They won't follow for too long. They only go about 20 blocks or so away, but sometimes they can aggro a little bit further than that. A good thing to do also when doing this is make sure you got some flowers on you, because bees will follow flowers. Look, he's lost his aggro, but the others have not quite yet. You can tell when they're aggroed and when they're not because of their red eyes. So we're just going to keep on moving. It looks like the baby bee is the only aggroed bee at the moment. And we can loop him around, lead him back. There we go. He's lost his aggro, so now we just use our flowers. And our flowers, we can lead them back to their beehives so they don't become homeless. Now, there are ways to obviously not have to deal with this every time. We could go ahead and just create a farm, which is exactly what we're going to do right here. So we are going to lead these back. He seems to be wandering over there, but that's fine. That's fine. But I do find it very difficult to tell which are the adult bees and which are the baby bees, because when you're close to them, they are quite big, some of them. So, yeah. Now, our beehives, that's just entered this beehive, so it's going to be a little bit before we can get it back to its original spot, or at least breed them up, should I say. But these beehives can come over here right now, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. Obviously, when we get this farm up and running, we ain't going to have to worry that much about it. So I think this is a big bee, and I think this is a big bee as well. So if I come over here and I just give you a thingy, you can go ahead and breed a flower, you can breed up with that bee, and we can get a baby bee. Bees breed really quickly. It doesn't take too long. I've actually managed to populate all of this from 2 bees so far, so I'm fairly happy with it. But I'm glad we've got a honey bottle, because we're going to need that for the farm. We're going to start setting up this farm right now, guys. This farm is going to be super, super simple and super, super easy. You don't need that much. In fact, all you need is just a couple of hoppers in terms of iron. Because a lot of the time when you create a farm, you're like, oh, I'm not going to create a farm because I need a bunch of hoppers for it. But this farm uses only a couple of hoppers, so we're going to make up a couple here to begin with, and we'll just pick those up like so. And we're going to start this off real simple, guys. We're going to pick a place where we want the farm to go. I kind of want my farm to go about here is what I'm thinking. I would like to try and fit in two, so I'm going to squeeze it over here. I think actually this would probably be the better location for it. Just to give you a little bit, maybe only one. We might not need two. What we're going to do is we're going to put down a double chest like so. We are going to feed a hopper into the back of this chest. And then what we want to do is we want to put a hopper on top of this one. But we don't want this hopper going down. As you can see, this hopper is facing into this hopper. That's not what we want. So we're going to break that, grab our hopper back. We want our hopper, just like this one is, facing into the chest. Or at least into this block. So we're just going to pop a block right there. We're going to right click, hold shift, and put the hopper down like so. And what that's going to do is that's going to put it in facing into this block, which is brilliant. That's pretty much all we need when it comes to the output chest. This is where the output chest is going to be. This next step, guys, we're going to go ahead and get the shearing in place, or rather the collecting of the honey. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 2 blocks here. These could be any blocks that you want. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Then on top of the hopper, what we want to do is grab a dispenser, put the dispenser facing us so that the hole is facing this way. And then grab our beehive, which I've just crafted up and lost. And I'm going to stick that right there. And that's pretty much the collector system. This is where the glass bottles are going to go ahead and collect the stuff out of here. And then this is going to drag them down into the chest, and that's going to do them. Now, the design that I'm using is by a fellow YouTuber called Wattles. And I'm going to leave a link down below in to his video, which guides you through this step by step. I'm going to try and give you guys a rough idea of what this is like, but I don't want to take away from him. So if you want the step-by-step tutorial, go ahead and have a look at him. I'm going to get some more of this built, and then I'll be back with a progress update. The next step we need to take care of is locking this bottom hopper, which I've done using this circuit right here. This is the same circuit that Wattles shows. So if you want to know how to build it step by step, again, his video is down below. But there it is. That's the circuit. Now I'm going to get on to doing a little bit more of this. So the next circuit that I'm building is the one that's going to tell this dropper, or this dispenser, when to harvest the honey. Now, because the beehive has 5 different stages, we want to make sure we harvest it at the final stage. We could do that by simply adding redstone. So this is the circuit right here. So this comparator, and I'm going to tell you this, guys, so you can understand how this works, and it helps me understand it a little bit more. So the comparator detects what stage this is at. Each stage gives it one more signal. So when it powers through all of this redstone, it'll finally power the hopper, which will mean that when this reaches 5 stages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will power, and the dispenser will fire. Now, the one problem with this circuit is it is linked right there, if you see. So it's only going to go 1, 2, 3, and then it's going to stop. We need to break that circuit, and you can do that by simply adding a block right there. And that breaks the circuit like so, meaning that we've now got 5 stages between when this comparator will detect and when it will actually fire the hopper. So that's just how that circuit works. I thought I'd explain that because I'm trying to understand redstone more, and talking about it helps me understand it more, and then maybe you guys can understand it as well, because I kind of suck at redstone. Well, I'm going to go back to building this. Well, it's coming together. The final thing that we need to do is get the glass bottles going into this system and out of this system. And to do that, what we need to do is the hopper locking system that we've used here to prevent this one from actually draining this completely. We need to filter it out a little bit. So you need to use 18 blocks according to Wattles, and I've set mine out just like he did, just to make sure there's no mistake. And you need to put the honey bottle that we gathered right there. What it's going to do is it's going to tell this dispenser to draw honey bottles out for me. I just need to make up some glass bottles real quick right here. So we'll go ahead and make up, how many are we going to get? We're going to get 62. I don't have much glass, but I have to nip back to the desert soon, so I'll pick up some glass when we're there. But, so now if we throw these glass bottles into the dispenser, they're actually going to stay in the dispenser as opposed to this hopper pulling them out, because this hopper doesn't have a slot in it to recognize pulling glass bottles out. However, once this dispenser fires and this gets harvested, then this glass bottle will turn into a honey bottle. This hopper will go, oh look, honey bottle, I can let that through. It's going to pull it through. Because we can only have 18 items in here, it's going to go, okay, we need to drain one out, and it's going to choose to drain the first item in the slot, which is obviously the honey block, and it's going to pull out the honey block. Well, the honey bottle, which is then going to end up in this bottom hopper, which will eventually end up in this chest. Now, it's worth noting that one bottle is going to get stuck in this hopper just because of the way that the hopper locking system works. But that's okay. It's just a buffer. You can actually take the one out here according to Wattles, but don't touch this one. Leave this one in place according to him. And I'm sure the guy knows more about redstone than what I know. So that, when it comes to the honey farm, is pretty much it. Oh, look, we've already got a bee in there. And look, you can see, it detected the signal. Look, it detected it. So now, the only thing left for me to do is to put some sort of little hut around this. So I think I'm going to get to work on that. So guys, I've got it put into place, and this is what the final product looks like. I've tried my best to make it look a bit like an outhouse. I've just slung a bunch of trapdoors on there to help that out a little bit. And it looks really, really good. We got some bees pollinating around the front, and this one has actually generated us a honey bottle already. Now this one, I duplicated the design, but I mirrored it, so it was facing the other way. And I've got ahead and I've stuck shears in here. Whether this is going to shear this and make these into honey blocks, I don't know. But I've adjusted the filter as such to honeycomb. And I'm hoping this will work as honeycomb, but I can't be certain on that one. If not, I could just switch this out for honey bottles, and we could have another honey farm as well. That'd be perfectly fine. So we got a few bees around here. These bees are going to wander. Hopefully they don't wander too far away and they don't get lost, but they may do. I've just dotted a bunch of flowers around here for now. I am going to make this area look a lot nicer in the near future. I want to put a field here, and there's going to be like this big circular thing. So like we're going to have the pathway come up against this house and down here, which I need to work on a little bit, because we've got to bring this up to about here. Or we're going to do something with this anyway, this side here. I'm not sure what I want to do just yet. But a nice little pond might be nice here, is what I'm thinking. Nothing too fancy, but something really, really nice. And we've got some more spaces to fill over here as well. But overall, I think it's looking really, really good. If we take a look from the sky, we're adding to this farm. This farm is growing. We've added this entire section right here. And I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out, guys. So I think that is going to do it for this episode. We really enjoyed playing with bees today. We've got a honey farm and a honeycomb farm. Hopefully the honeycomb farm works, but I guess we'll find out. But yeah, so guys, if you've enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like. It really helps out the channel. I really do appreciate it, so please do leave that like. And hit subscribe if you want to see more from me. Guys, I'm Casey, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.